What's up, Charlie? Welcome to Ghananie Photography. My name is Kwekwaye. In this short video, I'll take you through how I use one light for a headshot, or you can call it a profile shot or a portrait. I'll be using one light for 3 different setups. As we go along, I'll explain why I use each setup, and I will take you through the gear that I'm using. Let me introduce our model for today. Her name is
Ama.
She says her name is Ama. So she's going to give us some awesome poses today. So sit back and enjoy. The first setup we are going to use is this giant parabolic umbrella. It's the 160 cm parabolic umbrella with the diffusion in front, and then there's the 8600 BM in there. You can see this is a very huge light source, and for that matter, the light is going to be very soft. For this session, I'll be using my Sony a6000 with the Sony 50mm 1.8. As I said, our first setup, we use this giant parabolic umbrella, 160 cm. So I'll place it right here in front of our model, head on, and then we'll take our first shot and see what we get. As you can see from the images showing on the screen, we got some awesome images. The light is hitting her very well, but then I would like to get more light in her eyes. You can see her eyes look a bit dull. You can fix that in post, but I like getting my image close to the result I want. So I would want to fix this here before we finish. So let me just adjust the light so we can get more light into her eyes. We can do this in 2 ways. We can introduce a reflector below to bounce some light by and then give us some catch light, or we can change the position of our key light to do that. So first of all, let's change the position of our key light since we want to use less light as possible. So with that, I'll just angle the light up a bit and then bring it back like this, and then bring it down so we can have some catch in her eyes. So let's take a shot and then see what we have. Good. Oh, it didn't trigger. Good, like that. Yeah, that looks good. Okay. Your eyes were closed. Yeah, like that. So looking at these images we have after changing the positioning of the light, you can see now we have some drama in her eye. So we'll keep it like that and then move to the next setup. With our second setup, I'm going to use just the 8600 BM with this small reflector in front of it. So it's going to be more of a harsh light. It won't be as soft as the first setup. So let's take some shots and see what we get. Because we've taken the softbox off this, I've reduced the intensity of the light. Now I'll just look at the positioning. It's looking down here. So I'll just raise it up a bit and then bring it closer to our model. This is going to be a very harsh light because there's no diffusion in front of it. So let's take a shot and see. Okay. Oh, I like this. Very dramatic. So let's take a couple more shots. Oh, this looks good. So this creates a lot of drama on subject. So if you look at some of the images we are getting, it's very dramatic. I like it. Everything is well lit here. So we'll take a few more shots, then we'll change the last setup. So I'll just vary the positioning of the lights slightly. So looking at the images we have so far from the second setup, I'm happy with what we are getting. Let me know in the comment section what you also think. We will move to our last setup. So for our last setup, we'll be using a beauty dish with a grid on. So it's similar to what we just did, but now our light source is a bit bigger. Even though it's still harsh, it's a bit bigger than the previous one. And with this one, we are going to restrict the flow of light because of the grid on it. So I'm going to position the beauty dish on her and lower it a bit like this. So what the grid does is it restricts the flow of light. So the light is going to be wrapped around here. So if you notice from the images we'll take, the white backdrop is going to go into something like gray because there will be less light falling on it. So let's take a shot and see what I'm talking about. So from this first shot, you realize that it's a bit darker and the light on the background is now controlled. So let me increase our light a bit. I don't usually mention the power of the light because it differs. You know, you can decide to use something higher or less based on your environment. So I usually don't mention the power. So you would have to try it and then see which one works for you. So I've increased it a bit. Let's take a shot and see. Yeah, so I think this works for me. So let's take a few shots. Yeah. Looking at these few images, I'm happy, even though the light looks a bit harsh. So let me just bring it back a bit and check if the angle is good. Yeah, perfect. And also, if you realize, she's a bit far from the background. This is about 2 meters from the backdrop. So let's take a few more shots. In this last setup, we made use of the beauty dish with the grid in. So you see, with the grid, we are able to control the flow of light. And we still use the AD 600 BM for that setup. Let me know in the comment section which of these 3 setups you think you'll be using mostly or you've been using in your setups. I hope this has been informative for you. And I would like to thank you for watching.